You're a photographer, you want to do some of your own printing, or you want to send out stuff to get printed, and you want to know how it's done. And you've watched these people online and something just doesn't look right. Well, believe me, there's a lot that doesn't look right. Many people online that are telling you how to print, well, they print one picture, maybe 2 pictures a year. I print thousands a day. Many of them printed, mounted, and laminated, and framed like this one here. And in today's video, I'm going to go through and explain to you how I do my printing, my laminating, my mounting, and my framing. And we're going to actually make this picture. By the magic of video, you're going to see this picture being made here in my business. Now, why today? What am I doing? So on and so forth. And who am I? Well, first of all, my name is Mike Patterson. I'm a professional full-time photographer located here in Southern Alberta. I also run a full-service photo lab, and I've been doing this for 39 years now, a long time. I run a full-service lab where I print prints from wallet size all the way up to wall size. And I see a lot of these people online saying, hey, this is how you... No, it's not. It's how they do it. It works for them maybe, but it's not how everybody has to do it. So today, it's minus 40 degrees Celsius outside, which I think in Fahrenheit is pretty close to minus 40 Fahrenheit. I've had no customers in so far today, so I've rearranged the studio, taken client stuff that was waiting for pickup and putting it in a corner so that it wouldn't be in video, because I don't show client stuff without their permission. It's just not something that's cool, something that I do. And I've cleaned up the studio, cleaned up this, cleaned up that, and now I'm going to show you how I do my printing, my laminating, and my mounting. So join me, we'll go into the printing room and we'll see how it's done. Now, what we got here is one of my printing rooms. And this is where I do, well, a lot of my everyday printing. I don't do framing back here. I don't do cutting mats and stuff back here. I do my printing back in this room. And today we're going to use this printer here, which is the Epson P800 printer. It currently is not turned on, so the first thing that we do when we come in is we turn on the printer and we let it go through its startup procedures. Now the printer has started up. So what does it do when it starts up? Well, on this printer, it goes through a quick nozzle check. Nothing at all 100% accurate. And if you don't know your printer really well, or if you don't use your printers all the time, you should print out a nozzle check. So what's a nozzle check? Well, this is from another printer, but this shows you what a nozzle check is. And what it is it does a print of all the different colors on a piece of paper and it spits it out. Again, this isn't on the P800. The P800 actually uses an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and it prints a little thin nozzle check on it to tell you what the condition of the nozzles are. Now, should you do a nozzle check on your printer? Well, it depends how well you know your printer. It depends how much you trust your printer, and it depends how much of a gamble you want to have, well, wasting paper. On the P800, it gets used daily. And since I've had it, which is probably, I'm trying to think here, 4 or 5 years, maybe even longer, it has never given me a nozzle issue if I use it every single day. So I'm pretty much assured that it's going to work properly. But if you're not sure, do a nozzle check. Make sure that it is 100% perfect. Make sure you're not wasting paper. Make sure you're not wasting your time. Once you've got your nozzle check, once you know that it's working perfectly, away you go from there. So what are we going to do today? Well, today we're going to do a print that fits a frame that I happen to have in the studio here. And we're going to do one of my nature prints. And so we're going to get the printer ready to go for that. So let's open it up. So we open up the printer. We're going to grab our paper here. And today we are using 13 by 19 Epson luster paper. And I use this for certain size work, certain work that I do. I have other paper, I have other printers that use different types of paper. So we're just going to get it open here. And we're going to get our piece of paper out. And we're going to put it into our printer back here. Now, that's it. It's all ready to go. It's all ready to print. Now I have to go into the other room to the computer and I have to get the picture that I want, the image that I want, do the editing that I want done to it, and then send it to this printer. So I finally made it back here to the office. Believe it or not, it's only a few feet, but it took me about 20 minutes to get here because all the different stuff I saw that had to be done and changes and so on and so forth. So I have a frame here. I'm going to use this frame for our printing. It is a 10 by 14. Now, it's not a size that I usually carry, but my manufacturer messed up and sent me a whole bunch of them this size. So I have some extra frames, and I thought, hey, this picture would fit really nice in this frame. All right, so this is the picture that we've chosen, and it takes me a long time to choose a picture, so I'm not going to go through the process that I went through to choose it, but it's all ready to go. It's already sized correctly, so we're going to send it to our printer now. Now we go File, we go Print with Preview, because I love using Print with Preview. We go Print, Proceed. We then select the printer that we're going to use, and we're currently on the P800 here. Then we're going to Properties, the property box. We're going to select the paper that we're using, and it's 13 by 19, and it's a horizontal picture like this. All of this, when I select the paper size, is filled in. So this is all my color corrections. This is all my quality selections, everything like that. The only thing that I want to make sure of is that everything is correct when I hit the print button. So I always use Print with Preview. Click on OK, click on OK, and it will now send it to the printer. But before it does that, it'll actually pop up and show me the layout. And here's the layout. It looks great, and we're now going to send it to the printer. Print is now off. I know that the color is going to be good because I have a completely calibrated system. So what I see on my screen out front in the main office is exactly what's going to be printed. Now, it's just before lunch here, so I'm going to leave this dry at least until after lunch. If I'm doing real production work, it dries longer than that, but it's just before noon here. I'm going to have some lunch, get some other work done. We're going to leave it sit here and dry. And then after lunch, or possibly tomorrow if I don't get it done today, I will be laminating it, mounting it, and then framing it. So I'm now in my framing and my mounting room. In the other room that we were previously in, I have the laminator currently warming up. And all around me, I've got this in really tight because all around me I have client stuff that I can't show you. So I've moved stuff around and everything, so that's out of the frame. And this is where I trim my foam board. And just behind where the camera is, where I have a whole bunch of client stuff stacked right now, is where I do my framing. So what we're going to do now is we're going to trim a piece of foam board. And the size that we need is we need it 10 by 14. So we set it to 14 inches. Then we go through and we trim this down so that it is 14 inches. So that is now 14 inches. Then we need it at 10 inches. So we set it to 10 inches. And we have it at 10 inches. And then we put it in here. We put a leveler in so we get an accurate measurement there. And that looks good. And then we trim it down so that it is 10 by 14. Now we're going to go into the other room and we're going to do the laminating. We're back into one of the printing rooms and the laminating room. And this is the laminator that I use. It laminates on the front and the back. Uses two separate laminations. On the front of the print, it's a fine leather texture laminate. On the back, it is a matte laminate. I can reverse that if I want. I can turn the print upside down. I can do whatever I want for different laminates, but that's the two that I use here. And the reason that I use those is because it allows me to put the pictures in the frames without glass, and it gives a very high quality look. It's fully durable, it's washable, it's touchable, it's dustable and everything, but you don't have the expense, the weight, and the shine of glass. I hate glass. So let's get on to some laminating here, and I'm going to laminate this and put it through the laminator, and you'll see it come out the other side, fully laminated and ready to be mounted. So let's turn it on here. And now we will feed our print through the laminator. It's a slow process, but when it comes out the other side, it's fully encapsulated and it's ready to be trimmed. So now the print is out of the laminator. It's already done, so we just need to trim off the print, and we now have a fully laminated print. We then take the print and we trim down any excess laminate around the print. Just like so. Now we have our print. It's all laminated. It's not the right size, so now we have to trim it down to be the correct size. This is the trimmer that I use. We put the print in and we trim off the white off of the one side. Line it up there correctly. We then turn it around and we trim it the other side. So this is going to be 14 inches. We then trim off our excess on the bottom. And then we trim off the excess on the top to make it 10 inches. And there, there. And this is now trimmed to the 10 by 14 size. With the print trimmed, we now attach it to our foam board. And what we do to that is we peel it back just a little bit. We then take our print, we line it up so that all three sides here are perfectly lined up. So just like that. We then touch it down on the one side so that it doesn't move. We then remove the backing and we then roll it down. Now that is fully mounted. It's mounted onto the black foam board. So it is now ready to be framed. If we weren't framing this, we would trim all the edges so the edges were perfect. But this is what I call a frame trim. We don't need it exact because on the frame we have a little bit of a line that we can put the picture behind, and so we don't need it to be trimmed exactly. So we put our picture in the frame, just like that, fits perfectly. We then take our framing gun and we put in our framing points. Now, if this was one I was going to sell and not just have as a display print, I would actually put in more framing points, but this one's going to be used in the studio here. So this is all the points that I'm going to put in, because if I sell a different print in here, or if I change the print, I don't want to have to take out 6 points, 8 points, 10 points. All right, so there you have the final print, but it's how I do all the prints that I do here. 5 days a week, sometimes hundreds of prints a week, and everything is done the same way. No glass required, ready to be hung on the wall, and fully archivable. What more could you ask for? So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that you come back for future videos, and I hope that you get your stuff printed and framed so that you can enjoy it on your walls. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye now.